Welcome to 24 Days of Drops, an Animal Crossing New Horizons advent calendar that reveals a new build for a differently themed island entrance each day until Christmas. Are you ready for today's theme? Hello, and welcome to day 19 of our Animal Crossing New Horizons advent calendar. My name is Anita, and today we actually have a bit of a longer build because this is technically not only an entrance, but it's also the connecting area because the entrance because the entrance to this build was not the main focus that I was inspired to build. Because today we're going to be working on a national park inspired theme. I know that we did the collapsed bridge that was originally going to be a national park build, but I didn't really feel inspired to do a national park, or I didn't have like a more unique kind of take on one. But I thought of this build because I've seen a couple of people use the Maui statues as like a rock, kind of like a larger rock, and I really wanted to implement them, but I never had an idea on how I could do that. So we are going to do a Grand Canyon-esque, it's not really a Grand Canyon because it's going to be littered in foliage and stuff, but a Grand Canyon-esque build with a view. So obviously before we could build what you would be viewing, we had to build an area that you would be viewing said view from, right? That's a lot of viewing, Jesus Christ. My brain is not able to handle that at this time of day, Jesus Christ. Because it's currently 3 p.m. I'm going to be posting this at 6 p.m. So if there's not going to be as much editing, I'd like to apologize. But I also go live at 5 p.m. So I have to start getting ready for stream at around 4:30ish p.m. So I apologize, but I feel like my health and everything is just fighting with everything that it has for me to have a comfortable time recording this fucking advent calendar. It's been a real struggle, which I have actually been meaning to touch on. I have posted a little post in the Discord server last night, which I'm also going to be posting on YouTube once this post goes live. But I have decided to only do 20 days of drops for this advent calendar. I'm super sorry, and I'm already very disappointed at myself, but it's just not going to be happening because I had like a head start, as I said in the past. You know, I would have been done with this advent calendar by now, having like all the videos scheduled, but because I was sick twice right after each other, that really slowed down my process, or I was unable to record or edit anything for a full week, which obviously put me way off course, and now I am recording the day before I have to publish, plus I'm also streaming, and I also have to do some Christmas prep, so it's been a lot. I'm not whining, I'm just trying to explain why I'm trying to do the 20 days, and I hope that that's okay for you. I hope that the 20 builds was, you know, a good amount of stuff to get you through the Christmas days if you even needed them for that. But you know, I hope that this is okay. I'm still going to be live streaming as much as I can with my Wi-Fi being a big fat bitch at the moment. But I am still very excited for some live streams, and also for obviously this build and tomorrow's build. And I am also going to be trying to pre-record some stuff for the time period that I will be away, because I will be going on a little Christmas break from the end. So probably from like the 24th to the first week of January. So I am going to be coming back during the first week of January probably, because we are going to be going to my grandma's place for Christmas, and then we're going to be returning home, and then we're going to go again without my sister that time because she has to work right after Christmas, and we obviously don't, or at least like we can kind of plan when we want to work, and I really want to take a break, so I will be doing that, and I will keep you posted on the streaming stuff, like how Wi-Fi is gonna go. But I hope that that's okay, and I hope that this is okay that I just had this like weird intermission of explaining you a couple of things. But yeah, so this is going to be the second to last build for the advent calendar. Again, hope that's okay to you, and I hope that this is enough inspo for you. I'm not even sure what tomorrow's build is going to be because I will have to build that after stream tonight. And yeah, but I've meant to record a lot of builds during the weekend, but then I had a very bad back, and I still have a very bad back. I'm sitting here with a heat pad, which is really firing up right now, and I'm starting to sweat, but that might also be because I'm talking now, and I'm not really able to move, and it's kind of like, you know, when you have like that weird back pain and it kind of like expands into your brains and you get like a headache, that kind of weird shit I have right now, and I can't really move around much, so I didn't really have a chance to record as much. I recorded this yesterday, so this is almost live, right? This is almost live. I'm recording this only 3 hours before it's going to be posted. So you're getting a semi-live video, not a live stream, but a semi-live video. But anyway, let me go back to the build. But there was a lot of terraforming, so I thought that, you know, we could quickly, for 5 minutes, touch on that, because this is a longer build. And obviously there was a lot of terraforming at the beginning because I wanted you to view the area that we're going to be building from a second tier cliff. So obviously, this being very close to the entrance, it was a bit of an awkward thing. I don't really love doing an incline right at the beginning. That's like kind of, you know, the first thing you see. And I was even considering using some letters, but it felt kind of weird, and I wanted to have some inclines to just get this like right angle slope thingy that I have been loving whenever I see that on someone's island. And obviously I have done a couple of those in the past, but I'm so excited to like run through them. It's so much fun, and I really like how that gives you like that diagonal view of the canyon that we're going to be building. Yeah, so we're going to be starting off to kind of plop some please. What the fuck are please, Nina? Plop some trees down, and then we're going to be littering this in foliage. So this is not going to be any bigger build, because I also wanted to challenge myself for this video, or for this build, because we're not going to be using any man-made items. So all of this is going to be nature bits. We're going to be using some mush items, we're going to be using some vines, some stones, the termite mounds, we're going to be using a shitload of those, and some dormant volcanoes. And that's going to be about it. I also used some giant vines, and obviously flowers. I also decided to only go for the mums. So this is like a very natural build. I always want to say supernatural, but that's going to be the exact opposite. So this is going to be an extremely natural build, probably the most natural that I've ever done, because there's literally nothing man-made, not even a tree stump or anything that would have been chopped down, not even any of the log items like the log stakes. I was going to use them in the beginning, but I just didn't feel right. And it also provided us with this very lovely color palette. So we're only going to be using greens. We're going to have the sand color, which goes really well with the cliffs, and also the tree trunks of the hardwood trees. And then we're also going to be using some bamboo trees, but that's going to be about it. And obviously some of the, I think it's called the soft-shelled turtle, some of those models, I think we're going to be using 3 in total. And I just love it so much. It's so cute. I just wish there would come as the snapping turtle. I was going to use the snapping turtle as well, but I just prefer the soft-shelled turtle. And for the final tour of this build, we're going to have some overgrown weeds, and that's probably going to hide, or hopefully going to hide, the bottom bit that the soft-shelled turtle sits on. But I just really love how they look. Like, they look so cute. I just wish they would be placeable like the snapping turtle. Like, if you catch a snapping turtle, you don't even have to get a model. You can just place it down and it's like still alive, basically. Really like the concept of that, and I wish we had more kind of marine creatures like that. Like, I knew that we have that, like that giant crab and stuff, but that really didn't fit this vibe of this build. I just wish we had more like them. But if you place the soft shell turtle, that's going to come in a blue container, and that's obviously not the vibe that we needed for this build, right? And I know that the soft shell turtle is on that thing because I think it's not able to be on land that much, like not as much as the snapping turtle, probably. So that might be where, so it probably doesn't make as much sense to have it on land, but I don't give a shit, okay? It looks nice, it fits the color palette, and it's just stinking adorable, and I love it very much, and it does look kind of soft, and the green is like obviously perfect. Oh, I also really enjoyed mixing in the different colors of the vine. So we're going to be using the light and the normal green color of the vine benches, and also the giant vines. And I just really liked how that kind of gave it some variation, but also made it look quite natural. I think is because we had like that like variation in it. And as you can see, I also popped some vine benches right next to each other right at the entrance, but that's going to slightly change towards the end because I like the idea of having them staggered, because I like to do that with tire toys, but for some reason with the vine bench it looked very out of place. So I decided to shift them around towards the end. We're still going to have 2 right at the entrance, but we're going to shuffle them around a bit, and I do prefer a lot how that's looking. So we now moved onto the second tier, or like the first tier of this cliff, just to sprinkle in some detail. We are going to be detailing this up towards the end, but I did edit all of that out, so there's going to be a lot more detail towards the back, so that it feels a bit denser and a bit taller, and not like, you know, there's nothing behind it. But I didn't really want to edit that in, because a lot of the items that I'm using, or all of the items that I'm using, I use a ton of, and there wasn't as much like variation going on, so I felt like that was a bit boring. Like, you get the gist of how I place my items, how I group them together and stuff, you know, within the first 19 minutes of this build, so you don't really need to see me do another little section of that. So I hope that that was okay. And I just really love how the rock items, that termite mounds and the greens work together. We're also going to be using the green dormant volcano and then also the brown dormant volcano, because obviously the brown one blends in perfectly with the termite mines and also kind of with the sides of the cliffs, especially during this time of year. And I love how the mix of like the green and the brown dormant volcano was. I just felt like that made it look so much more natural and like an actual landscape that was very far in the distance, and I just really enjoyed it. I mean, I love the green one, but I just felt like I wanted to give it some variation. It might actually look quite cool as like a monochrome build. Like if you were to set this to a fall season, for example, this could look really nice with the sand colors. Or if you set this to a more rich green month of the game, like for example June, you could even go for May or something like that. I think that would work really well, and only use green items. That could also be really interesting, I think, for like a monochrome kind of landscape. So if you decide that this would be a theme that you'd be interested in doing, I highly recommend maybe trying some of that. I think that could look really cute. You could even do a combination of the green and the grey, or the brown and the grey, because we do have a grey dormant volcano as well, and I think that could also be really cool. So maybe that could be something that you try out in the future, my love. But yeah, really like this combination of items. I also did not really put that many custom codes down here, just because I felt like if this is in the distance, I feel like I keep saying this for perspective builds, but if this is very far in the distance, you probably wouldn't see like the tiniest details, like the tiny flowers on the ground and stuff. So I didn't put too many in. There are a couple that, you know, just helped it to fill in the area, but there aren't too many custom design codes down here. So this was actually a rather quick build, you know, kind of taking into account how big of an area this was, because this only took me about like 2.5 hours, which is very short. I mean, not for this advent calendar. I feel like all my builds for this advent calendar were very short, because obviously I didn't have the pressure of wanting to cling on to a theme that I had to carry out for a full island. But I just feel like I don't know, I just had so much fun playing with this, and I was actually really pleased that I was so inspired to create this build, because not gonna lie, like I have been struggling a lot with motivational inspiration for this game at the moment. I think it is just because of the advent calendar, and because I have been playing this game so much in preparation of the advent calendar. So I hope that this is even creative, and it's not just my kind of shiftest perspective of finally feeling inspired to do something. So I hope that you like this build. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of like the combination of the green and the brown and the rock, because I wasn't sure when I went into this. I was like, is it gonna look weird if we mix like all those different colors? But I do really like it. Makes it feel a bit nicer, a bit more variety going on, and I just feel like it helped it to come together. I also kept in a couple of those sequences where I went back in and checked the view, because sometimes I felt like there were a couple too many dormant volcanoes, and sometimes I felt like I had to have a couple more, and like I had to shift them, I had to exchange them for the green one or the brown ones or something like that, just so that it all felt balanced, nice and dandy. And I really like how it came out. I'm also going to be popping some trees within, but only the small ones, because again, you know, perspective builds, I didn't really feel like popping in a tall tree within this little valley, because I felt like, I mean, it's not really a valley, it's more like a chain of mountains and some larger rocks in between. But I just felt like if we used too many tall trees, it would take away from that like perspective, like that illusion, really. And I really like the small ones. And then towards the back, we're going to be nestling it in with some medium and some large young hardwood trees, because I felt like that just helped it to not feel as bad. I was initially going to pop some cliffs behind that, but honestly, like, this took so long already. I felt like it was enough, and it was such a big area. Like, it was barely just an entrance. It's more than an entrance, really. But, you know, so I really like how this looks with the trees tucked. And I was actually even going to pop a lake within the center of this, but the lake wouldn't have really been a lake. It would have been more like a pond, probably, because I built this too small to put a lake in between. But if you do that, I feel like if you make like a bigger area like this, you could definitely pop a lake in between. It could look really nice, like one of those volcanic crater thingies that, you know, a volcano was active there and now it's cooled down and it's like a lake. I think that could look really, really pretty. Whenever I think of a crater lake, I'm not sure if that's pronounced correctly, but Kerith, which is a Icelandic kind of crater lake, volcanic crater lake thingy, and it's so beautiful. And I was there at one point and it was so stunning to look at, because you had like this sand color and then you had this turquoise water in the middle. It looks so beautiful, and then obviously that was nestled in with green, so that was also probably what subconsciously inspired this color palette, I just now realized. And so very, very gorgeous stuff. And obviously I also had to pop some stuff onto the cliff to the right of this build, because I felt like it looked a bit too bare and I wanted it to have a bit more height. So I popped that in, and then in a second we're also going to be moving on to the front of this. So we're going to be moving on to the area that you're going to be viewing this view from, because I still had to decorate that cliff for a little bit. So we're going to have the path connecting with that incline. If this was an island that you would continue and probably open it up either to the front, have an incline go down there and then continue to a different area, or I would probably carry the cliff, the second tier cliff, onto the left diagonally, just so that you could have a pathway kind of, you know, going over that cliff. I think that could be very, very pretty. But obviously, again, this is a standalone build, so I wanted to have fun with it and just want to treat it as so that it looks pretty in the end and it doesn't feel bare and empty, really. So I really, really do like how this came together. And I did cut out a couple of the things that I did on this like wraparound kind of cliff bit that we have, because I don't love having only one tile of cliff around the second tile. You know what I mean? Like, when you have the first tier cliff, and you have to have at least one tile around the second tier cliff in order to build it. I wanted to have a bit more space there, just so that we could really kind of slope the foliage down into the valley and it all looked kind of seamless, because I felt like that just helps it so much to feel more lush and more believable in a sense. So really, really like how that came together. And obviously I had to pop in a couple of termite mounds. I felt like I wanted to try and use more termite mounds the closer we got to the valley. So obviously in the island entrance I also used a couple, but not as many obviously like I did for the actual valley, because there are so many, so many. So if you decide to do something like this, you will probably have to use a treasure island. I'm not sure if you will be able to do that without one, because, you know, many items used, or you will have to have an unlimited amount of funds to somehow get this from Nukazan or Dormant Volcano, or to buy the Dormant Volcanoes, because Jesus Christ, those fuckers are very expensive. And I am really praying for you that you have access to a treasure island, because it would really suck if you didn't. But obviously not everyone watching this is going to recreate it. But anywho, we are already approaching the end of this build, my love. Thank you so much for hanging out. If you're still watching this, comment a bug emoji, any bug emoji, right? Let me know. I want to see who's actually watching to the end, because I feel like, you know, I'm waffling a lot, so I can't blame you if you're not. But thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really hope that you enjoyed this. Again, this was less of a, you know, my usual zooms and kind of like weird memes included. But you know, sometimes you're just not feeling like that, and I don't want to be unauthentic, because I feel like that's not what I'm trying to do. On the interwebs, we have enough is it unauthentic? Is it inauthentic? Anyway, too many of those people online, right? We all know that. So I hope that this was okay. Have a wonderful rest of your day, my love. I'm going to leave you now with a montage of this finished product. I'm also probably going to be live streaming on Twitch as we speak. So if you want to flop on over there, join us. We're going to be doing some island tours probably and some decorating because we are having a Christmas challenge on the Twitch channel. So, you know, if you want to participate, maybe flop on over there and see what it's all about. And yeah, I'm going to see you tomorrow for the last one of our Animal Crossing Advent Calendar builds. Take care of yourself, my love. I'm going to see you when I see you. And yeah, bye-bye.